Hey everyone, you know that feeling, right? You've got this awesome story idea buzzing around in your head, but the second you try to write it down, it just turns into a complete mess. It's all jumbled up. Well, today we're going to fix that. We're going to look at one simple tool that can take all that chaos and turn it into a story that actually makes sense.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll dive into that messy starting point every writer knows all too well. Then, I'll show you the secret blueprint to fix it. We'll cover how to catch your ideas before they disappear, build the story's skeleton, breathe some life into it, and finally, how to nail that surprise ending.
All right, let's jump right in. We're starting with the messy part, that chaotic, sometimes super frustrating beginning of any writing project. I mean, seriously, does it? You have this incredible story playing out in your mind, but getting it onto the page in a way that someone else can follow feels, well, almost impossible. If that sounds familiar, you're in the right place.
And this is what writing without a plan looks like. You just get lost, you end up repeating yourself, you jump back and forth in time, and the whole thing just gets confusing. It's a headache for whoever's reading it, and honestly, it's a massive headache for you, the writer.
So, how do we fix this whole mess? Well, there's a way to bring some serious order to that chaos. It's not some kind of magic trick, it's a blueprint. It's your story's outline.
An outline is, and I'm not exaggerating here, one of the most powerful tools you've got. Just think of it like your story's skeleton. It's the bare-bones structure that holds everything together and gives your story its shape and strength before you even think about adding all the other stuff.
And look at the difference it makes. When you don't have that plan, you're just wrestling with confusion and dead ends. But once you have that blueprint, suddenly you've got clarity. You've got a story that flows. Every single scene, every character, it all has a purpose.
So where do you even begin with building this blueprint? Well, funny enough, it starts by actually leaning into that chaos just a little bit, but, in a way that's actually productive.
See, before you can organize anything, you need stuff to organize. So this first step is all about freedom. It's about letting yourself catch all those random ideas, those little bits of dialogue, and those fleeting thoughts that pop into your head before they just vanish.
We call this the brain dump, and it's exactly what it sounds like. Just let everything spill out onto the page. The most important rule here? No bad ideas. Don't judge, don't filter, don't worry if it makes sense. Just get it all down on paper.
And this is pretty much what it looks like. It's just a messy list, right? A knight, a dragon, some character detail, like being afraid of heights. It might not seem like a whole lot right now, but trust me, this is the clay. This is the raw material you're going to use to build your entire story. Okay, so you've caught all your ideas. You've got this beautiful, chaotic mess. Now it's time to start building the skeleton of your story. This is where you start sifting through everything. You're going to look at all those notes you made and just start grouping related ideas together. And what's cool is that as you do this, you'll actually start to see the shape of your story begin to emerge. And boom, look at that. Just like that, our random list is starting to look like a real story. We've got our characters, our settings, and the main plot points. Just by sorting things into groups, a real outline starts to take shape. It's that simple.
So you've got the skeleton. It's organized, it's strong, but here's the thing. A skeleton isn't a story. Now comes the fun part. We have to give it life.
So how do we do that? How do you actually turn these neat little bullet points into a story that someone's going to want to read? How do you give it that spark?
Okay, this is key. Your outline isn't a cage that traps you, it's a launch pad. It frees you up from stressing about what happens next and lets you focus all your creative energy on the how. How does it happen? How do the characters feel? Each point is just a prompt, waiting for you to expand on it.
Here's a super simple example. The outline point, the skeleton, might just be, he was afraid. Okay, that's a fact. But the story, that's he ran away because he was afraid. See the difference? That's an action. It shows us something about the character and moves the plot forward.
So how do you add that flesh? Well, you describe things. Show us what characters are doing. Write dialogue that sounds like how people actually talk. Describe that crumbling castle so we can see it. Your job now is to connect the dots and make the world you've outlined feel real.
All right, you've built the skeleton, you've given it life. Now let's talk about how to stick the landing, how to make that ending feel powerful and totally memorable.
The best endings feel earned, but they also have a little twist of surprise. And your outline is perfect for setting this up. Remember how our knight is secretly afraid of heights? If you mention that early on, the reader might forget about it. Then, when the final battle just so happens to be on top of a really tall tower, that fear suddenly becomes a huge deal.
Your outline made sure all the pieces were in place to make that surprise feel both shocking and, looking back, completely inevitable.
And that's really the whole process. You go from a chaotic mess of ideas to a strong skeleton, and then to a living, breathing story. The outline is your blueprint to make that happen. So the only question left is, what world are you going to build?